Welcome to the new episode of Vadi Sound Talks. And I am with Rebekah Wilson. We know her as the co-founder and CEO with Source Elements. And with Source Elements, they do remote collaboration for real-time media production and arts. Besides that, Rebekah is a composer, a technologist, a self-taught programmer, and a lecturer in music, and also an active supporter of women in TechAudio. And because we're in Women's Month, March 2022, we wanted to host you as an authentic female leader, and also a startup in TechAudio for almost 20 years. So thank you, Rebekah, for accepting this invite. And I want to hand it over to you. So how does your story begin?
There's many ways to tell a story. And I was thinking, instead of me going to start telling a story, if we have a dialogue about what a story means, and together we can share our stories at the same time. I think it's really important to listen together. So perhaps I can tell you one thing that one of the things that got me here today and that got us talking today, we can arrive at this point together, then that will be really interesting for me as well.
Sure.
So if we go back to the what we do, we both work with music, we both work with technology, and we both work with networks and communities. I think those are three things that you and I share, that we have a different way that we produce software and the purpose. There are many crossovers there, and community, technology, and music is certainly one of those, as well as our interest in diversity and inclusion. So it could be a full thing. So if we were to start with music, I started learning the piano and violin when I was very young. And looking back, I realized that I never had very dexterous fingers, that my fingers never really cared about where they went on the piano. It was the whole time exploring. And so when I realized that I was more interested in creating music than playing other people's music, which is still a thing that I love, and I still play the piano for myself, that was, I think, the first moment of creativity for me that really became so much mine, because I came across this myself, that with my own mind, my own imagination, I could make new things happen out of the piano instead of just playing the notes that were already written on the paper. And I wonder if you have a similar moment when you first realized that music was a creative moment for you in music.
Well, actually, my realization is quite recent. My background is totally in something else. I used to do marketing for a corporate company for more than 18 years. And at one point, I just stopped and said there must be more to life, and there must be more to learning and creativity. So I think it has roots in my major at the university. I studied English language and literature. And arts is a mix, it always comes together: literature, music, sounds, all kinds of arts. I think I missed that after all those corporate years. I worked for a company called Unilever, and it was a big company. It was very successful, and I was doing good, but I didn't feel in my flow. I'll put it that way. So I stopped, and then I met my business partner, Enis, who actually had this sound effects library. called Vadi Sound, and it was the first and only sound effects library in Turkey at the time, and it still is. And I was all of a sudden I felt like, so this is it. I want to be a part of this. It's so unique, and the vision I felt at that time was so authentic, like to have just record the biggest sound effects library ever, and with the finest quality sounds, and just balancing the commercial side of sounds and also the creativity. So we want to keep it real was actually how we started. So I felt that that was something really missing in my life, to work for something that I truly believed in, and felt the joy to wake up in the morning and just be a part of that. So it started as a business opportunity for me, where I can contribute my business and marketing skills. But in less than 3 months, I found myself recording sounds everywhere, with my very first Zoom recording device. And then I upgraded to a better one very quickly, because I started, listening intentionally. And I realized that that was one of those rare moments where I forgot about everything else. And I also live in Istanbul, and Istanbul is a huge, crowded place with a lot of noise, I would say. And up until field recording, I was, irritated with the sounds and the noise. But after listening intentionally in my field recording, I started loving the sounds of the city. So I became in tune with my environment too. So that's like an enlightening experience for me.
I really respond to that, what you said about that, how you listen and who you are is more important than who you are and what the sounds are.
Yeah.
Example, I just moved to a place where I'm very, very happy to be, and next door they're building a house. And normally, it's like, oh man, there's construction noise all day and they're annoying me, but I'm so happy to be here, I don't even notice. It's really interesting. Usually, I remember in my past, I would be really annoyed at these noises, but today I'm just like, oh, that's great. Someone else is going to love being here as well. I will have
Yeah.
great neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way we listen and
Yeah.
the what we bring to it
Yeah.
is really important. And one of the things that is, again, great, what I get to do every day is to send those sounds in real time over the internet to anyone who wants to hear them. So we do a lot of remote recording with orchestras or actors or musicians, many sound effects, and so I remember early when we started, I was living back in New Zealand for a while, and on a beautiful day, I could open all the windows and the garden would just be there by my studio. I've got a good microphone and next to the windows, and you could hear the birds and the insects. And then I would make a call with someone using Source Connect. And because it sounds so good, what you and I are hearing right now on this conference call, we should be using Source Connect so you could hear it, but you could hear everything, the little insects flying around, a car driving 2 streets away, a neighbor talking on the phone. You can hear everything, and it really does something very special about positioning us together, about locating us together. So one of the beautiful things that I've got to enjoy over these last 2 decades is really feeling very strongly of bringing people together, because that listening is so important. It's so important. Our ears are, we really underestimate how good it can make us feel when we're sharing
Exactly.
a sonic environment.
Yeah. It's great. And it's such a good idea, even after, I don't know, 17 years in building source elements. I can't really imagine the time, you actually started doing this, because it was probably an unthinkable idea at that time, right?
Oh, definitely. Well, definitely, there's no way that I would do it again if I knew how hard it was to have done it. But that's great, because in the end, you don't win at what you don't try. So
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad, and I'm really glad for the people around us who supported us back then when we were young. And as you know, with your company, when you're new, we rely so much on the goodwill of our communities, of our customers, of our potential customers, those who choose not to be our customers but let us know why. All of that is so important, and I'm sure you know from your marketing experience that communicating with those people is the crux of it all, of keeping you going. So we managed to keep going, and we got some breakthroughs, and it's been working a long time, and
Yeah.
it's propelled us around the world. So
Yeah.
it's great.
And actually, sticking to your vision in Source Elements, and I'm just assuming, but not digressing, in so many years, after so many years, is also another success, I think. It's an achievement. And I know that you're also co-founders of the company, and you're still working together with your business partner. So that's another unique thing, because from a research I read, I think within the startups, having one female, one male co-founder is like, if I'm not mistaken, like 3% of the total startup world. So it's very unique. Most of the time, like more than 60-70%, it's all male leaders, founders. Other times it's a few, only female founders, but solo. And then you have these very unique combination of two people, female and male, founding the same company and still working together after many years. So it resonates with me, especially because me and business partner, we get along very well, and we just complete each other in our what we bring to the business, because he's a self-taught sound guy by origin and by passion, and I was a business person until then, and a marketing person actually. And then it felt very complete after a while. I want to hear your experience with Source Elements.
My business partner Robert and I are well matched in one thing. We're both as stubborn and arrogant and sure and passionate and as each other. So that I think is really important. There's not one of us is less like I will get my way. Really. We have complete trust that we're going to fight through something, and nothing goes unsaid. And then it was really important to us when we realized, as long as we've said everything we need to say and don't hide anything, then we'll be okay. Because the worst thing that happens between any partnership, any relationship, is hiding your feelings, because it will come out later. It will,
For sure,
100% later at some point, come out in one way or the other. And I think that's been what it keeps us really healthy, is if we're not embarrassed to say whatever we need to say to each other. And of course, we keep that all in private as much as possible. Sometimes it's also important that between us, our discoveries and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve, we have each other to bounce off, and then we can stand united together in front of the rest of our team and say, this is what we want you to help us with. And that gives us a real strength. And I hope you find that also. People are happy to follow leaders who have, that strength with others.
Exactly. exactly. So far, so good.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, has it been a bumpy road for your business? Managing a big team, managing agile because you travel a lot, and you also have other passions and activities you do. So bringing all of this together, it's really interesting for me, because you usually see people dedicated to their company mostly, and then there are these tiny little hobbies they do.
Mm.
But
Well,
it looks like in your case it's multi-passionate all through.
I think, if we look at how the company sort of has changed over the years, it's to start supporting what we are passionate about in general, and that just happens to be music, technology, networks. Those are the things that Robert and I are both really
Mhm,
engaged in. So he works as a sound engineer. I work as a composer and a teacher at the conservatory. And then, as long as we agreed we must, as much time as we need to dedicate to those things, then it folds back into the company. And the reason it works is because there are some others that we trust to do what's needed. There's nothing not being done, and then we're able to connect our vision of what the company needs to build to the reality of who's going to build it. So whether it's sound engineers and musicians, students. I work a lot with students in long distance collaboration education projects.
mhm,
So I don't see how you can run a company without being connected to the communities that you're selling to.
mhm,
If the founder isn't doing it, then they're hiring someone who is, which is fine, as long as that they've got good communication. So you could, have another person in your company be doing that. But in our case, we're lucky that it gets to be us. So
mhm.
we also have plenty of energy. It helps. So
That's a must,
and
isn't it?
yeah, and we both love working. So
Mhm, mhm.
it's really, if I'm not working, I'm going to want to work. It's just
The same
yeah,
with
but
me. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, because it's gives so much. It gives a lot.
yeah,
Mm. It's not always easy. Like you said, there are
yeah,
real challenges sometimes
yeah.
when you realize, like, wow, I did not know I would be learning this lesson today.
Yeah, yeah,
How about that? Now I'm a stronger person. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Especially with the team, it really resonates with me what you said, like connecting to who you actually serve to, sell to, and also, hiring for the skills that you don't have currently or you will
Thank
never have. So
you.
those points stood out for me. Because we're fairly new with Vadi Sound, we are hiring a lot of people, and some of those tries don't work. So we need to hire again,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the time it's hiring for the right culture, and it's not for the skills with us. Um, Maybe it's an early stage thing. I don't know. It's my first entrepreneurship actually in life. Um, and we really want to, get the right culture. It's really important that the team likes the new person and they can work well together. And everybody has to have some of the values that we support, like equality, supporting women actively, supporting non-binary people. And we're in such a geography in Turkey, although we serve mostly abroad. In Turkey, the environment is not one of equality and
Yeah.
supporting the women or non-binary at all. So we're trying to make it real. So with the people we hire, we're trying to hire more women and more non-binary people. And we also will start donating now. A certain percentage of our income will go to associations which support this cause in Turkey. And apart from that, who knows? I mean, in the future, we can do bigger things, better contributions, I guess. And so that really is important. And also having just hiring the skills of what you don't have. For example, we work for gaming industry. Our sound effects are usually fitting that industry, and I didn't play games before, and it felt so off from what I'm trying to achieve in business. So at 43 years old, I started now playing games actively, and I start enjoying it. And now it's like a weekend activity for me, or just an activity to bring my thoughts together, etc. Up until then, I was thinking, the team is, all of them are gamers, so we should be okay, but it's not okay. I need to be a part of that, I felt. So it's another life changer for me. I mean, I keep learning and learning and learning new stuff. And I think that fuels my energy, the energy you said. Just being on the learning side of things, and balancing the learning and, just bringing what you already know to life. It's a good energizer for me to balance these two things. And the other passion I have nowadays is I started my master's in sound technologies this semester. So I fell more and more in the flow and knowing what I'm doing better every day.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, well, you'll really be able to understand what you need to build and how to build it, and what messaging to convey to really have a strong, long-lasting company. It's fantastic, doing all the right things.
Thank you. Do you have some, stuff that you learned after you started, building source elements?
I don't think I knew anything before I started the company. The same thing. I'd been running, being an entrepreneur for some years before then, just in that when I left university, it was to learn how to use computers to make a living. It was really just what I wanted to do. And so approaching, just learning whatever I could on a technical level. So I did mostly was freelancing or supporting myself for many years until we started Source Elements. But then that was really wonderful to be able to pour all of my energy into one thing, to build a company. It's a really I really prefer that than freelancing. I think it's just what we build together can be bigger than what we can build by ourselves. That much I've learned. And as you say, finding the right people to work with you, you can get a real resonance. You start resonating at the same frequencies, and it amplifies. It really does. So that's critical. And we've had people working with us now for years and years, and we still love each other. It's really special. I love so much the people that I work with. It makes me very happy. My teammates. And so even though I'm CEO, we have a very flat structure. My job is as the CEO and to work with my co-founder to make sure that we are making our we're very, very customer driven, of course, so are our customers satisfied, and how can we make them more satisfied, and how can we make them satisfied in ways that they don't know yet that they'll be satisfied by, because innovation is really important as well. So it's not going to ask them what they want, but going to ask them what are they missing, what is driving them. And they're often, they don't know that, but my co-founder Robert is one of those people who's very, very good at knowing ahead of time. So it's great to be working with a visionary. And things that I've learnt are to mostly be authentic. That's like a really, really important thing. And that authenticity means believing in yourself that what you're building is what you really want to build, because otherwise you're just not going to do a good job. And then being your authentic self to your teammates as well, so they can trust you. And then being an authentic person to your customers so that they can also trust you and that they can rely on you. So that authenticity is really a core value that we've fostered and made sure that we try not to hide. We really hate vaporware. Sometimes it's unavoidable because we make mistakes and things don't work out all the way that we want. But we certainly are purposefully never trying to make us appear what we're not. That might actually sometimes be it's an interesting trait actually, that you see a lot of companies do the opposite. They'll be so sure that they can build what they want to build if they just get enough money, if they just get enough people, if they just get enough capital, and then they can sit down and build it. And this is where you get this idea of I'm not comfortable with that. I'm the kind of person that prefers to go and build something first and get a prototype working and quiet and prove it, and then turn it into something that others can see. So in some ways, maybe that keeps us smaller than we would be, but it also means that we're able to stay authentic to ourselves. We don't have to. We're only committed to what we want to do. We're not committing to what we've told other people we're going to do. I think that's the difference there. And I don't regret that any second. That I would rather stay a small company and do what makes us happy rather than be overcommitted. So there's a choice. Some people are happy with the other one.
It's a wonderful choice, which we share. Yeah. It makes me think. It's a very interesting thing you said. It's different than an overpromise. It's being so sure of yourself that you can achieve anything. And then if you do that, sometimes you put a lot of pressure on yourself just to meet that promise. And you can easily forget the things you actually like doing and the actual things that started you in this business. And then somewhere in between, probably many people think, what the hell have I done? How did I get into this? And what do I do next? It's a huge dilemma. So how do you achieve that? Like, how do you stick to what you actually, how are you not tempted to, go ahead of yourself?
Well, it's a constant challenge, to be honest, because we do look at, you read the news and it's like company got, $100 million on a $500 million valuation or whatever. And I know what that means, giving up. It means giving up the control that when I get up in the morning, I choose to build what I want to build. There's not a single person who will tell me otherwise. And and again, I just, I think it's important to say that I'm happy with that decision. And the other opposite, some people actually maybe love that. They love that kind of risk. So, and great, fantastic for them, fantastic. Just for me, it's not what makes me happy. So, but, and then, how do you grow a company like that? Just slowly, very slowly. So I hope you can imagine, in 10 years, if you are a certain size bigger than you are now, what will it mean for you to be happy then? So what is it that is important to you not to lose? The most important things that you won't lose to have happiness. And perhaps you sell the company, or you buy one, or you merge, or you stay the same. There's many options, and every company finds a different path. But as long as you don't lose what's something right now is making you really happy, you can see in your face that you really enjoy what you're doing. And
yeah, we do.
I hope that joy doesn't go away.
Yeah, I hope so too. So there are so many, temptations on the way, especially when you're an early company. And we talk to some investors, like angel investors or venture capitals, seed funders, etc. And for example, we talk about like investment amounts that we can get in the early stage, and some of them say, just you, two business partners, can make this amount anyway. So this is what you're already worth. You should ask for millions and millions of funding. They say, some of them say, and we actually know the cost of that. Like we know what that equals to, and we say, no, thank you, we don't need that much for now. Maybe later. And it's so obvious that the general tendency is to push you towards making billions. And don't you want to be a unicorn like in 5 years? No, thank you very much, we don't.
I'm happy. I have this
mug is okay. But business wise, no, thank you.
I know. I always laugh with this cup. It's like I have a unicorn cup. That's plenty.
Exactly. Yeah.
How much stress comes with that,
Yeah.
How much pressure comes from being in responsible for that much money, for that many people's lives.
Yeah.
It's not for me. Yeah.
Same
not
here.
At that level. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something, maybe this whole internet thing is letting us connect with people who are, really share our values. And instead of having one big $1 billion company, maybe we'll have 100 $10 million companies that we all work together and we keep strengthen each other. That's a nice idea. Like we do, like we partner together. It's really wonderful that we can help support your business. And I hope that we can do more of that. And I'm, always interested to hear, if you come to me and say, hey, we've got technology that we'd love to work with you on and to cooperate on. I mean, that's real joy right there. So
exactly, that's the way to go. And you've been one of our early supporters, and we really appreciate that with Enis. And these early supporters like yourself, it's mattered the most actually, because it shows that there's an authentic support, and it's not for just business gain and stuff. And especially with women supporting each other, it's even more important because there are so few of us around. I was just checking the figures for like game audio people, their percentages of genders, etc. And I found a shocking number. Another shocking number. I'm always shocked. It's like 87% of people in game audio, 87 call themselves male and binary. And that really leaves a very small percentage to play around, as a woman, as non-binary people, etc. So that's why we always say we should actively support each other and do more for women and non-binary, as much as we can, of course. And yes, so in the way you said, like building hundreds of these companies, not unicorns, but companies that stick to those values, companies that do what they're best at, etc., etc. I think within that environment, we can also support women and non-binary people or other causes like you believe in. It can be environment, it can be something else, climate change, hunger, I don't know, whatever it is. Doing something good is usually possible in smaller, more protected environments, I believe.
Yeah. 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 It's really inspiring to think about the possibilities there. Yeah. It's another way of looking at what the world can be, instead of asking the existing system to support change. We say we'll make our own change, and be very, very good at that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
So really, really nice. Yeah.
And how many people do you employ now? Do you work with in Source Elements?
So we're around the world. I forget how many countries now. It's more than 10, 12 countries. 50 people, and it's but everyone is very independent. That's been a critical part of how we work. It's giving as much independence as possible. We have one of our wonderful project managers has really impressed on us how important it is, not just to give responsibility to each individual in reaching the goals of the company. So that means being very, very good at communicating what we're trying to achieve. And that's fairly easy for a tech company. It's like, okay, we're trying to build a certain software that has these customers. So we define the roles. So we have like a user stories of, we know the users that we want. We make up stories about, we invent these users. For example, say, Joanna is a voice artist. She lives in a small village in outside London. Sometimes she goes into London to record in a studio, but usually she records at home. So she likes to make sure that the software is easy to use, and sometimes her internet isn't always good. So this is a kind of a typical story of our users, and then so we can say, how can we make sure that she's happy? And that's our goal. And we talk about that goal, and it's like, is Joanna happy with these decisions that we're making? And so by having those shared visions that are very, very well communicated and constantly iterated, when we love OKRs, and we love quarterly cadences, and cross department communications, all of these things that really work. They work if you commit to them, and then they really
So it's actually possible to balance the strategy and creativity and independence.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We have a strong ethic, like a strong system of internal sharing of ideas, and like, for example, if someone wants to a blog post, we'll share that with each other, and then put a draft up, and then we'll all read it, and we'll all help. We'll all get involved. So there's no, it's a really open for everybody to push ideas, or to help with ideas, to jump in, and we don't really have these strong structures of who belongs where.
Cool.
But also a strong, clear idea of what their primary, purpose is that we need them to fulfill, so that the company can succeed. So it's kind of like a ship. I like to think of it as a ship. Everyone lives on the ship together if everyone knows their job really well. But sometimes you have to do someone else's job in an emergency. You can. No.
Exactly. And what you previously said about loving the people you work with, I think that's like the basis of all of this. because it must be
Yeah.
mutual, probably, because it's never one-sided. If they feel it, others feel it, they probably respond, and it keeps the ship going, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also because I want to keep working with these people. So it's like, what can I do to make sure that this keeps going on and on and on? And then, even when I'm 70, that I can still participate in this with these people. Maybe I'm not working every more day to day, but can I just like pop in and hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Hang out with so I'll come and hang out with your grandkids and your kids while you're working. And just like,
It's funny
So-
because this is exactly what I say to the people, When I'm like 70, I will have my blanket on my knees. I will sit at this corner because our
Mhm.
dream is not to change our studio, because just to, again, preserve this, startup spirit. And we don't want to change locations, maybe, traveling around, but just having the same office, the same studio where we started. And I just show a corner couch that I'll be sitting there with my blanket and my little, what do you call them? Glasses for seeing near. And just, commenting on everything they do.
Yeah. I love it. So can't wait. It's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, what about being a woman in all of this? So, has it helped you? Has it made things more difficult for you? What do you take out of all these years?
The main thing above all is it just makes you aware of who you are. And that has to be at the end a gift. I really believe in the Socratic vision of know thyself, in investigate yourself, put yourself in the position of always being responsible to trust how you're seeing the world, so that is forced on you when you're not part of the status quo. You have to be questioning all the time, um sure, sometimes there's annoyances, but I think I've personally always just been like, I don't care, I'm gonna do and get what I want anyway, how I can. Where it did make a big difference was just the confidence of being able to reach out to people who could have helped earlier on, without realizing that. So maybe taking on about being an outsider, but at the same time, I'm also, from New Zealand. I'm also, so I'm an outsider in many ways. I'm an immigrant to Europe. I'm a self-taught programmer. So there was always that, sense of, should I have gone back to university and done, a computer science degree? How many books can I read before I feel like I understand the same thing? I never will be, like a deep level DSP engineer, but that doesn't mean that I can't work with them. And so, of course, in the people that I work with, we're all just very good at communicating. And I'm very good at saying, I don't know how this might work. Let's discuss together what it's supposed to do and how we know when we've achieved the goals together. So just to go back to what does it mean, to be a woman in technology and to be a woman leader in technology? Today is very different than it was 20 years ago, because we've been through the Me Too movement helped a lot just to make it okay to be a woman finally. I think it's like, all right, whew, it's all right to be a woman. Good. That helps. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And that it's okay to have experienced what would I say, to have experienced you know, behavior of others which isn't necessarily what you would have wanted, and that those things are okay, and that you're not a victim, and that was just a way of moving, how we move through the world, and that we can make for our children and the women who come after us, make that a much easier world, make it one where it's much safer for them to pursue their dreams. So I'm really full of gratitude for my mother and my grandparents and my great grandparents before me, who made even these societies easier for me. And I know, talking to you in Turkey, where you have different challenges than I have, say, here in the Netherlands, where I think they've just passed a law that you have to have a certain percentage of women on the boards now. So and I really believe in positive in these positive types of what do you call it?
Endorsements, like
making sure that everyone has an opportunity to have a seat at the table. And I you often hear people saying, yes, but that means there's not going to be maybe qualified people at the job. And it's like, what made you assume that these men were ever qualified at the job? I mean, that's a big assumption right there. Like, you and I both know how often people get jobs because of the people they know, because of the people they like, because of the people they're trying to impress. I mean, it's and often they just know these men because of the networks they're in, because of the bars they've been drinking in, because of the people that they've met through their relationships, because it's the people they play sport with. It's just there's so many shallow arguments. And let's prove first that women are incompetent before we even have the idea that women are incompetent, because I don't think that's true. So, and I posted earlier this month a note how I've never experienced a time when who somebody is in their body has had any account at all to what they're able to do with their mind. It just doesn't. It's just not true. It's never ever been a case, not once. So let's have some representation.
For sure. And what you said about in this geography, it's more difficult where I live, and I'm one of the more privileged people in terms of opportunities, education, etc. And it's taken so long for me to realize that I take these for granted, and I have so many biases myself against women, against different people, just because the society just influences you without knowing it. And I'm particularly ashamed of some of the passive states of my life about all this, and just enjoying the benefits. But again, at this part of my life, I just realize I realize more. I can't say that I know everything. I now can see it all. Of course not. But I try to start changing where I am, and support the unprivileged people in my geography, and then in our company, and then make it bigger and bigger, step by step. And I must say, probably at early stages in my corporate career, I was again biased to women, and I probably favored some of the men for some roles. And I probably took for granted some of the male leaders' words more than the female leaders' voice and views. And now looking back, I can see them and learn from them, and make it better in my everyday life and with my team. But I realize more and more that I need to actively support women more, even more. So in some cases, they don't even need to be that competent. Having a level of competence should be enough so that they can develop now, because some of them didn't have the chance to develop before, not having these,
Yeah.
equal environments, let's say.
Yeah. Something I've been thinking a lot about lately is how in my career, I was given opportunities. I was given opportunities, to start this business. I was given opportunities when I was at university to participate in, classes and learning electronics, and given opportunities with computers. And at some point, someone, usually a man back then, because they were the ones who had access to those things, let me in and said, you have interest, you have passion, so come and learn. So I think now we have inbuilt cultural bias to say that men by default have that interest and that passion in technology. And so we get them, they get a step up automatically through that assumption. So by taking that assumption and applying it to everybody, because I find that's easier, no point bringing people down, we may as well elevate everyone up to the same level. I just assume now that everyone who comes to me, interested in a position or interested in upskilling or, increasing their responsibilities, to assume, okay, you have that, if you have that interest and that passion, then what we need to do next is find out whether you've got the ability. But that's the next step, is to just not say no. And so for me to say, okay, how will I know? How can I validate that you're able to do this role? And that just opens up the floodgates to everybody.
Yeah.
It's really changed everything for me. So they're just really able to see the world in a genderless, non-binary, abilities of all kinds. It's like, here's the job we need done. Let's set up some metrics to find out whether it's something that you can achieve, and what can I give you within my bounds to help you achieve that.
Yeah, as simple as that.
It's that simple. Really is.
It's true.
Yeah. to stop making assumptions on people's abilities and verify instead. I mean, a long time I had a saying, trust but verify. And that verification was actually easier to say that than do it. I just realized I didn't do that most of my life, but now I can start thinking like, how do I verify? What does that mean? And makes things a lot easier. And also takes responsibility of you, because then you're able to give somebody like, here's the metrics, and when we both know together if you succeeded or not. Yeah. And I think teaching has been really important for me as well, because students come and they say, how do I know whether I've passed the class?
Yeah,
it's a great question.
Yeah,
it's the best question. So we should do that for everybody. How do I know when I've met your expectations? Tell me, so that I can go and find out if I can do that or not. What a game changer.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And also being honest as a leader, being honest about your own achievements and failures is also important for that trust and two-way communication. For example, nowadays I go around our studio saying, I achieved one of my big bets for the first quarter, but I couldn't still manage the second big bet I had for myself. And it's a shared target, so everyone knows there's a two-way reporting, back and forth with the team. And I say, I have still 5 days left until the end of the month, the quarter, so maybe I will. So just having this honesty, and not playing big, bigger than I am. I think it also nourishes that metric wise, competency wise, as you call it, leading or, working together, collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. Well, it's been really great to talk with you. It's I hope that we get to visit at some point, or certainly have another conversation. I love Turkey, and any excuse I have to go to Istanbul, I'm very happy. So you're also very welcome to come and have coffee in the Netherlands.
Yeah, for sure. I did come many times and I just love it. Where are you based in the Netherlands?
In Amsterdam.
And Amsterdam, that's the greatest.
Mm.
Rotterdam and Amsterdam, I've frequently visited before. And Istanbul, yeah, this is a great time to come to Istanbul. The devaluation has helped you, so you will enjoy a
Well,
lot of the
it
luxury.
doesn't make me happy.
Yeah, we just got used to it every day. And spring, I mean, it's wonderful time. And yeah, you're welcome anytime, many times. And thank you so much for this round of, chat, let's say.
Yeah.
Thanks for accepting it right away and following up with me on making this happen. So,
Of
and
course.
your vision and your experience means a lot to us. And thanks for being an early supporter of Vadi Sound. So
Absolutely. Great.
let's keep this conversation going.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be in touch. I'll send you the recording so you can edit or whatever you need to do with it. So it's great
Thank
to
you.
talk.
Great to talk. Yeah.
Okay. Have a
Okay,
great
then.
weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.